Good morning. Welcome to 1111. How y'all doing? All right, good.
We were born before the winds are so younger than the sun, and the bonnie boat was born as we sailed into the misty. Hark now, hear the sailors cry, smell the sea and feel the sky, and let your soul and spirit fly to the misty. When that fog blows, I will be coming home. When that fog on blows, I want to hear it sing. I'm not feeling out like your gypsy soul, just like we back in the days of old. Yeah. Magnificently we will flow into the misty. When that fog on blows, I will be coming home. When that fog on whistle blows, I gotta hear it. I don't have to fear it, and I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. Yeah. Magnificently we will flow into the misty. All right, too late to stop now. Now.
So the weather changed. And most other people who aren't here are sitting at a coffee shop somewhere. So let's stand and give thanks. Holy One, we come to this place. We come with our own journey of the past, each different, each so shaped by the places we've been and the people we've met. Each of us shaped by this creation, this amazing, wondrous creation. And yet, just like the world around us, we long for change. We feel it in our bones. And so we gather here knowing that somehow by connecting and opening, we might be part of that change. And so we celebrate this gift and give thanks. And this is our prayer. Amen.
We'd like for you to remain standing. Sing this song with us if you would.
Here we go. There are no steps to this sacred dance, just the feel of your feet on the floor. Arms in the air, as free as your bird, and as simple as a wave on the shore. The voices you heard have no power here. Find a rhythm that fits how you live. Silence the critical voices inside, straying our lives through a sea. Here we go. God of pleasure and wilderness, grant us the wisdom to dance with creation. Yeah. God of wonder and bliss, give us love for the beauty of all our relation. As we stretch out our hands to the heavens so fair, let us dance be our prayer. Verse 2. We move in a mystery of all that we see. We dance for the wonder of me. Dance through the struggles to remind us how the truth is finally free. God of pleasure and wilderness, grant us the wisdom to dance with creation. God of wonder and bliss, give us love for the beauty of all our relation. As we stretch out our hands to the heavens so fair, let this dance be our prayer. Take. Sing with us again. Come dance with your brothers and leave all your cares. Come sisters and mothers and let down your hair. Come stars of the morning and darkness of night, for the joy of creation's God's greatest delight. God of pleasure and wilderness, grant us the wisdom to dance with creation. God of wonder and bliss, give us love for the beauty of all our relation. As we stretch out our hands to the heavens so fair. Once again. God of pleasure and wilderness, grant us the wisdom to dance with creation. God of wonder and bliss, give us love for the beauty of our relation. As we stretch out our hands to the heavens so fair, let this dance be our prayer. If you take a moment and greet each other with signs of peace, if you would.
Our reading this morning comes from the book of Luke, chapter 17, verses 22 through 33. Then he said to the disciples, "The days are coming when you will long to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and you will not see it. They will say to you, 'Look there,' or 'Look here,' Do not go, do not set off in pursuit, for as the lightning flashes and lights up the sky from one side to the other, so will the Son of Man be in his day. But first he must endure much suffering and be rejected by this generation. Just as it was in the days of Noah, so too it will be in the days of the Son of Man. They will be eating and drinking and marrying and being given in marriage until the day Noah entered the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all of them. Likewise, just as it is in the days of Lot, they were eating and drinking, buying and selling, planting and building. But on the day that Lot left Sodom, it rained fire and sulfur from heaven and destroyed all of them. It will be like that on the day that the Son of Man is revealed. On that day, anyone on the housetop who has belongings in the house must not come down to take them away, and likewise anyone in the field must not turn back. Remember Lot's wife. Those who try to make their life secure will lose it, but those who lose their life will keep it.
Heart has a cage you try to deny. It's too small for your truth to fly. You got a song for the wind and your mind on the sky. You know that one day you're gonna have to try to say what's on your mind, to run until you find the place where love is kind and the feelings get to show. Where do you go to let go? Upon a time, now it's hard to recover, but you know the sign. You need to let go, let the good times roll. It's not safe in a place without any soul. Say what's on your mind, run until you find the place where love is kind and the feelings get to show. Where do you go to let go?
I want you to maybe close your eyes for a moment and go with me somewhere. Go with me to a time. I have a time in my memory that I remember one September night with my little girl going out under the full moon, under that harvest moon, feeling that little bit of crispness coming in the breeze. And you just be there, just be there for a minute. And I remember her starting to kind of twirl around, and we all then started twirling around until we all fell down and laid there on the grass looking up at the stars, twirling around until we all fell down. Sometimes I think maybe that's what the world needs more of. Just more chances for us to get together and twirl around till we all fall down. So if you've been able to go there in your imagination, then maybe you could make even a bigger stretch. Imagine that there on the grass, twirling around, is everybody in this room. You see the smiling faces pointed upward. Twirling and twirling, bumping into each other, and then all falling down. Feel that dizzy feeling of letting go, of pretenses, and all the stuff that sometimes gets in the way of our joy. And so if you've been able to make that leap of imagination, maybe consider the possibility of seeing there on the grass all of those people in your life who always seem to be at odds with each other, those liberals and conservatives. Can you see them all, the entire body of Congress standing out there on the grass, and they're all twirling around until they all fall down. Holy One, there's so many serious things that we have to deal with in this world. There's people starving, and there's people fighting and hurting each other. Even in our own lives, there are people who are sick and dying. It feels like such a serious place to be. It's so easy to lose our joy. It's so easy to take for granted this life. Maybe somewhere in this process of living from day to day, we might hear you whisper an invitation just to remember how to dance. And if we can't remember how to dance and have that joy, would you just remind us every now and then to twirl around until we all fall down and look up at the sky and say thanks.
I want to invite you to sing this next song with us.
love, give me love, give me peace on earth, give me life, give me life, keep me free from birth, give me hope, help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you, heart and soul. Take hold of my hand, that I understand. Won't you please, oh, won't you give me love, give me peace on earth, give me life, keep me free from earth, give me hope, help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you, heart and soul. Take hold of my hand, that I understand it. Won't you please, oh, won't you give me love, oh, give me peace on earth, give me life, keep me free from birth, give me hope, help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you, my soul, give me love, give me peace on earth, give me life, keep me free from love, give me hope, help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach heart and soul.
Take another look. Take the next slide. And the next. There you go. There it is. Anybody ever feel like that? Losing control to find it. Have you ever just lost it? You know what I'm talking about? Like, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of nods in the room. You know, we say this about people. She lost it. He lost it. We were just talking, and then he lost it. What is it we keep losing? I want to talk a bit about this whole experience of losing it. And maybe just to explore for a minute today the positive side to losing it. Maybe we need to lose it. Sometimes we just need to lose it. Why? Because we're probably going to do it anyway. At some point in our lives, don't we all kind of find ourselves kind of all backed up, feeling lots of stuff? It's kind of like holding a beach ball underwater, feeling all this stuff, and then one day, completely out of control, we go to scratch our nose, and whoosh, here comes all of this feeling and stuff. You ever had that happen to you where you just had it overwhelm you with all these feelings? It's dangerous. Sometimes people have this happen and they do very violent things, very bad things. We do have to kind of learn to manage these experiences of these emotions that we've got in ways that are more healthy. Look at all the people in our prisons today. A lot of the people in our prisons did something very bad. They did something that really harmed people. They did something that hurt people very badly. But you can look at their lives and begin to recognize that a lot of those people that are in those prisons did what they did because they lost it. A lot of those people are there because of the way they had learned or been shaped by their life to manage their emotional experience. Regulating our emotional experience is not something that all of us get taught so well. I don't know about you, but I grew up in a family that taught me to regulate some of my emotional experience by saying, just don't do it. And how's that working for you, as someone else famously seems to have said? Somehow, keeping a lid on everything that I feel seems to be more dangerous than letting myself have these feelings sometimes. And yet, we find ourselves in a world where sometimes you get ahead in a world where emotion is more denied than allowed. Maybe it's a leftover from our inheritance of culture, that acknowledging some of the weak feelings like distress or fear or embarrassment are things that if you show those, you're not as likely to become the CEO or the pilot of the airplane. Really, you don't want to get on an airplane and hear the captain get on the speaker and say, we're flying at 30,000 feet. I'm kind of having a bad day. It's not comforting. We would really prefer to get on an airplane with somebody who seems to have managed their emotional experience a little more than that. But if you look at the flight safety record, a lot of the issues with crashes have to do with pilot error, and a lot of the pilot error have to do with what? Fatigue. And what is it that emotionally tells me I should get some rest? Fatigue triggers distress. Look at any infant. You ever, soon you people will be out shopping in malls to get ready for Christmas, right? And some of us will have these little strollers with little children in them. And after about 2 hours of strolling around the mall, what does an infant typically do? Cry. Exactly, they lose it. Good choice. And why did they begin to cry? Because fatigue naturally triggers in human beings' bodies that feeling of distress. So we begin to cry. But if you were raised in a way like I was that said, big boys don't cry, you look weak. You will be a wimp. Then you learn in a culture that frames manhood that way, and that often only rewards women who fit into that script. You learn to stuff it. Stuff it. And when you stuff it, you're basically kind of dissociating from your body. What happens when we lose it? It comes out much bigger. But more importantly, not connecting to what is the natural signal in my body that tells me I'm fatigued means I can blow right past those signals and get right back in the cockpit. None of us ever do this, do we? Ignore our fatigue and just keep on doing stuff. Now, of course, sometimes it's really helpful. When Sylvan Tompkins did some research on the difference between men and women and the polarity of our differences in this culture, he began to recognize that there were emotional scripts that men were given and those that women were given. And so often women were shaped to be okay to cry and to feel fear and to feel embarrassed. And men were shaped by the culture to ignore their fear, ignore their distress, and never acknowledge their shame. Come on, women, can I get a witness? What this creates for women, often in relationships with men, is that they will do kind of like what, I've seen happen many, many times, where women will come in and they'll say, have you looked at the checkbook? We don't have enough money to pay the bills at the end of the month. What are we going to do? And men will feel triggered, but they will not be able to acknowledge that feeling, because to resonate with that feeling is to be what? Weak. I'm not being a good guy. I was raised to be a guy. A good guy doesn't do that, doesn't show that. And so the guy says something along the lines of, it's going to be fine. To which the woman, right? She now feels like, you're an idiot. You don't get it. And so women will amp up the feeling, won't you, right? So now you feel more distress, more fear, and you express it more. And now the guy, poor guy, he's dealing with totally irrational women. Right? Guys, can I get a witness? Yeah, right. This woman is now being totally irrational. She's getting way overblown about this whole thing. And I'm just saying it's going to be okay. I don't know why you're getting so upset. You're getting out of control. You're losing it. Control is a big piece of this. Control. We control these feelings. We control other people's feelings. We want to control what they're feeling. We want them to respond the same we do, respond the same way. And when they don't, that triggers all kinds of stuff for us. So we keep trying to control what we are and what we feel. We have an image of what we think we're supposed to be, and we carry it around. And when we don't fit into it, it triggers some bad stuff. Sometimes people are raised with scripts that are so controlled, so flat emotionally, that they have no skill at managing the kind of emotion that gets triggered when they have some kind of major failure in their life or some kind of major loss in their life. And in those moments, those scripts fail them and they lose it. But we're only talking right now about the bad feelings. And bad feelings are just the part of us that say, hey, pay attention, something bad is going on, something that doesn't feel good. You might want to pay attention. It's like a warning light on the dashboard, Guys, when they see a woman, this is typically scripted men, when they see a woman having that light on the dashboard going off, will often assume that the light on the dashboard means they're going to crash. But for the woman, what this mainly means for most women is just, hey, these feelings are telling me I need to pay attention to something. It doesn't mean we're going to crash. But the man's like, oh no, this is going to be the rest of the night. Who was it? Dave Barry. I think somebody wrote the book about some of this. And he said that when women, say to the man, I think we need to talk. For the woman, it's like, we need to talk about our relationship. It feels like a tune-up. But for men, they automatically begin to just recognize this is not a tune-up. We're going to take apart the engine, aren't we? You really mean we're going to break this down to the blocks. And so we have these different experiences of what it means for us to have our feelings. But when we only talk about negative feelings, we only talk about the stuff that feels bad, we often miss what it is that we are really missing in life, which is joining with other people in the good feelings. I mentioned last week that I think a lot of times we find ourselves stuck trying to manage all the fires in life, and it's really easy to find yourself in a place where you've forgotten how to whirl around and fall down, where you've forgotten how to let go of control and let yourself experience the good stuff, the joy. There may be some reasons why we've been kind of trained in that way. I go back to Sylvan Tompkins, this really smart guy who wrote voluminously about our emotional scripting, died 20 years ago. In his work, at one point, he studied this polarization of our scripting, and he started asking this really interesting question. He started asking this question. It was, are these polarizations between male scripts and female scripts the same in all cultures? If I go to Europe or Japan, or I go to somewhere in Australia or South America, do men always have these kinds of scripts around their emotions, and women always have these kind of scripts? It's an interesting question. And you know what he found? Yes. Except in cultures that never had to have a warrior class. Now that's interesting. What's interesting about that is that only in cultures that never had to get a group of people to decide to be warriors are there a sense of no scripted differences. Women cry, and men feel their crying coming out too. Women express fear, and men would feel that fear too, rather than have this disconnect. In fact, he said, in some of these kind of island cultures that have never had a need for a warrior class, you could see the men and the women going off into the jungle to pick berries and singing songs together. Which sounds great to women. And runs directly into our macho scripts. I don't pick berries. And I don't sing songs while I do it. What Tompkins finally ended up suggesting is that the control that we have put on our emotional experience, which often also involves good feelings as well, has evolved over thousands and thousands of years in cultures who needed to have a warrior class who agreed to taking on emotional scripts that would deny their distress, their fear, and their shame. That's what you want a warrior to do. You want a warrior to be able to not cry, not be afraid, and not feel shame. And, though those are natural to the body, to develop scripts to really ignore those. But also, you want your warrior to delay enjoyment. So, the other part of this script is, I have scripts that say it's not okay for me to whirl around and fall down at any time, particularly right now. I can do that only when I have accomplished exactly what my task is and I am being rewarded for my valiant efforts to do things that required me to withhold and ignore my distress, my fear, and my shame. Then I can have a little enjoyment. What I'm suggesting this morning is that losing it can also be about finding your joy. And losing it, what is it, can really also be about letting myself experience the joy of this moment, which usually has to do with not taking for granted, like these flowers. Experiencing what is and letting myself into the joy of that in the here and now. Losing control of that feeling of joy. And it seems ever more true to me that we are are living in a culture that's lost its joy. We've lost that sense that we can honestly and openly connect with each other in this freedom of play. You know, when they asked the Dalai Lama what he thought people should do to help make the world a more peaceful, loving place, you know what he said? He said, we should have more festivals. Because you can talk all you want about trying to put out the fires of hurt and pain and conflict and still not figure out how to let ourselves release ourselves into joy. When was the last time you whirled around and fell down? Doxia, I've always said, is our model for joy. That whole experience of letting ourselves let go of enough control, let go of enough of the concern of how is this going to look to somebody else. Letting ourselves be silly. Letting ourselves be foolish. Inviting that experience of play. Losing it. What we discover when we allow that to happen is we recover. We find something that without it, everything else gets a little darker. During this season, as the weather begins to change, we move in 11/11 to celebrating the part of our spiritual journey that's about letting go and emptying out. Letting go of those things that we tend to hold too tightly to. Maybe consider the possibility that holding too tight to your joy is something that you might let go of. That to discover that reconnection with heart and soul and spirit is as much about letting yourself be foolish, letting yourself be silly, letting yourself dance, letting go of appearances. And like the song we wrote this week says, where do you go to let go? I know you can't go do that at work, except for me.
We want to invite you to lose it with us on this last song. And if you brought your offering, bring it to the table as well.
If you want to sing out, sing out. If you want to be free, be free. There's a million wings to be. You know that there are. And if you want to live high, live high. If you want to live low, live low. 'Cause there's a million ways to go. You know that there are. You can do what you want. The opportunities are. And if you find a new way, you can do it today. You can make it all true. You can make it undo. You see, it's easy. You only need to know. And if you want to say yes, say yes. If you want to say no, say no. 'Cause there's a million ways to go. You know that there are. And if you want to be me, be me. If you want to be you, be you. There's a million things to do. You know that there are. You could do what you want. The opportunities are. If you find a new way, you can do it today. You can make it all true. You can make it undo. You see, it's easy. You only Sing out, sing out. If you wanna be free, be free. 'Cause there's a million things to be. You know that there are. You know that there are.
So a couple of quick announcements for you. You can see in the back of the bulletin lots of things starting this week if you're looking for a place to connect and find that, maybe even that place to you can go to let go. Maybe you can find that here with some of the groups that we've got. I know you can do it in the Artist Ways class because that's what Kathy Sunkel is letting go. Yeah, and you can do it in a Roots of Change group. Part of, I guess, the challenge in our world is trying to figure out how do we care about all the hurt and all the trouble and still experience and give a sense of gratitude and joy for this life, this journey of life. Matthew Fox once said, "You don't go into the darkness without a light." We need to help each other keep hold of the light. Keep hold of the light, of our joy, of our gratitude. Let's say a prayer. So I invite you to just hold in your own heart, call to your own heart that sense of joy, that sense of play that you've known since you were little. That twirl around, fall down, dizzy, loving joy, where you just lost it. And now into that joy, into that love, draw to your heart all those places and people where there's suffering, where there's struggle. I want to mention Elizabeth Lawrence and her ailing dog. And I want to mention Sue Uten, who's recovering from a heart attack. But there's so many others on our hearts and minds that we could hold up right now. Bringing them into this loving joy of our capacity to love and care from that place of light. Holy One, this is our prayer. Amen.